Star Wars Republic Commando. So yes, this is a classic original Xbox title that is Xbox One X enhanced with 16 times the pixel count for a native 4K resolution on the enhanced version on Xbox One X. Pretty great, right? Pretty cool. So the multiplayer doesn't work anymore because, well, they took off the Xbox Live for original titles and they flicked the switch off, so you can't do that. Shame, but you know, there still is split screen options. And yeah, so we're gonna jump in the campaign map. Obviously, I don't really have an account because, you know, I'm revisiting this, and none of the saves transfer over. But you play as an elite group of clone troopers, your Republic Commandos, and you're the leader of a squad. And you're deadly as an individual, but you're more deadly as a team because you control and you guide and you kind of, you know, you give direction to your squad in order to control them and be effective in battle. So I figured just showing off the start of the game was probably the easiest thing to do and give the least amount of spoilers. Just give you an idea of things. But generally, yeah, it's like most original Xbox games. The improvement and the enhancement actually looks really good. I think this looks pretty great for such an old title. And you're just kind of getting like a quick look at their history on Camino. As we train and learn as a squad. I mean, I think this holds up really quite well. I am pleasantly surprised.
Your weapons.
I mean, obviously some elements still look aged, but yeah, no, definitely way better than I was expecting. So yeah, this is an older title. So I mean, that's kind of why it visually looks like it does. It's first-person shooter. We've got our squad here. We're battling away. Again, it's just kind of like a shift-through cinematic, just giving you context of the team as they grew and got ready for battle. Oh, some of those HUD icons look a little old on the visor.
And 07, the fiercest hunter of all your brothers. You are each
yeah, getting ready to go into general combat. But generally, for context, you're moving through a kind of linear narrative. You're taking over, infiltrating, you're destroying things, and you're like part of just a tough squad, an elite squad that does things that the generic troopers, you know, don't. You're in charge of missions that others can't do, and you're just a very specialized soldier. Yeah, that back thing doesn't hold up too well. I wish the HUD icon were a little bit smoother.
Sir, we're gonna split up for the drop, but we'll meet you at the RV on Geonosis.
Yeah, let's roll, man.
Side, sir.
It loads really fast, though. War has come to the galaxy. Oh, and there'd be Star Wars music too, but I've turned that off just in case. Yeah, we're part of that massive droid army. So it's a very interesting take on the Star Wars franchise because it's a little bit more gritty, it's a little bit darker. Not something you really see these days, if that makes sense, in terms of the games, because we are, I don't know, maybe we'll see it again, but this was a very interesting title because it was so different from everything else that was present and available at the time, and I think that kind of makes it a special title. And it's really nice to be able to revisit it, right? A lot of these older games, it's just nice to go back and, you know, see how they hold up and see how the enhancements give it a little bit of extra charm. Should be pretty intense here.
Welcome to Geonosis, 38. It's nice to see they finally unhooked you from the simulators. I've been assigned as your
But yeah, generally there's a good amount of gameplay to it. It's all a campaign to work through. Real shame about the multiplayer element of it. But, yeah. I mean, you get what you get on these older games, basically. Oh, look at this intensity. We're on Geonosis. Thank you. Probably back in the day, you had to wait so long. I can't even remember really loading things. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, there goes that guy. Yeah, let's get into this. Handles quite well. That was a bit of a weird saving point. But yeah, we're part of this larger scale battle. You're moving through, you're seeing linear pathing. It's just kind of like a classic Star Wars game that was quite different. And I know a lot of people are really, I don't know, they look back on this one as like a very fond type of entry. Guess we're gonna use the healer. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a nice part of history, and it's great that we're able to experience it and see it in a quality that, I mean, it really wasn't able to present as back in the day. Great, nice tips there. I mean, obviously some elements, maybe the general gameplay hasn't held up quite as much as people remember it, but I'm sure for some this is a great nostalgia trip, and for others it's a cool little look at Star Wars game history. And it's just, it's kind of cool that Disney is, I don't know, making the LucasArts titles so available. Because I was always, well, I just assumed we never get to play these games again. You know, we got Battlefront, those look fantastic. I think this is not bad, but I'm definitely seeing limitations as far as like environmental setups and just how it is. Oh, the droids look a little bit weird. Oh, they're coming through the wall. There's a big splash on the screen. Yeah, and very scripted. I wish the HUD elements were a little cleaner. They're a little bit fuzzy. Well, very fuzzy. But we take what we can get, right? There's a nice selection of planets that you kind of get to visit too. I guess I'll mention that. Like, again, it's a linear game. You're moving through it. You're shooting things. You're blasting stuff. Big segments. Usually you got your team elements, but we're going to be meeting up with them here. Yeah. And then you get to go and you get to do missions on some of the more iconic sort of Clone Wars style map areas. And I know a lot of people have really been sort of asking or looking forward to seeing this particular style of Star Wars return someday. And it'd be nice if it did, you know, just like a similar kind of follow-up game to this. And I think there were some rumors of that possibly being a thing. So we'll have to see if that ever does happen. There we go, meet up with the squad. It's when the action gets intense. What's up, man? You know you're getting shot at in the back, right?
I'm linking up to your HUD, boss. Those sonic turrets are tearing our troopers apart. Lead, I have uploaded a demolition placement location to your visor.
Yeah.
Scorch, I need you to demo
Scorch.
that bunker for me.
Good. I'm dying to blow something up.
We could use
Go! And that's the command feature. It's kind of like telling them to do things, activate certain stuff, help out, you know, everything like that.
Inside without killing the squad, okay, Scorch?
And it's just like an interesting mechanic in the sense that you're not just in a shooter. You are, you know, you're part of an actual squad. Oh, that bug thing survived that big explosion. Okay. That makes sense.
Advisor, we've got some heavy artillery over here.
Gunship Hawken, en route.
I don't think blasts are going to really do much against that thing. And we're entering the Spire. I don't know. It's kind of a nice revisit. I'm having a good time with this. Loading. Just goes right across. That's the dream.
Your ultimate objective is Sunfac, but your immediate objective is to rendezvous with Delta 4-0.
Got a little bit of a melee going on there, a little knife. Jump along. Yeah, the good old days where you just kind of like walk through things. You know, you weren't exactly like just sprinting like a madman.
On the other side of this door. Place the charge and blow it. I'll warn him to step back.
Doubters, give me an explosive solution. I'm on it.
Anyways, this has been Star Wars Republic Commando. A nice sort of revisit on a classic Star Wars game, which is always fun to do. And I hope I kind of showed off generally the gist of what it is. Shouldn't get so close to the door, man. Look at this guy just snapping that Genosian's neck. What a badass.
Uploading and linking with your visor, sir. Delta Lead, advise you task 4-0 with slicing that security
Rip that door.
supremely qualified.
Get slicing on that
Your
terminal,
squad
Commander.
status and location is displayed here.
Anyways, that's the game. You get a squad, you work with your squad, you work your missions in a linear fashion. And you battle, you shoot, you fight your way through a very interesting Star Wars tale.
Security
And
shield
it
disabled.
performs quite well. And I think it definitely loads really well. And it looks visually impressive, especially considering how old it is. Some elements, obviously, haven't quite aged as well as they could have. And it would have been nicer to see a sharper HUD with the enhancement, but I guess that just wasn't quite meant to be. But not too bad. I think it looks good, and it's definitely, you know, playable at this point. And perhaps worth a revisit or a fresh start if you've never played the game.